What's in a name? I've heard of MIM, I've heard of MBA. What's an MEB?
You know, the MEB, as it says, it's the Master in European Business. So this European dimension is the small but quite important difference with the others.
But what exactly does that mean? It's European specific masters?
No, just to be serious. In fact, at the very beginning, you know, in '95, when it has been launched, it was really a European program at that time, because the European meaning was very important. At the origin, it was just a European program just because the students were supposed to be from in Paris, Berlin, Oxford, etc. But in fact, today, it's still a European, but more in the mindset. I mean that it's now really the program of Europe open to the world. Europe as a culture, Europe as a mindset, as a certain style of doing business.
Okay, but I'm looking at applying for my master's. There's a marketplace full of MIMs, MBAs. Somebody tells me this one is the good one, this one is the good one. What is it about the MEB? Why should I choose an MEB?
You know, the MEB has a very precise concept. It's a non-consecutive program, so, well, you are supposed to follow it once you have been graduated from another type of things.
Oh, it's not fresh from a bachelor's?
No, no, you're supposed to be graduated from another world. You're an engineer, you're a young architect, or science, or law, or whatever. Probably you work during 1 or 2 years, probably, and after that you are interested, for professional reasons, in really completing something about management, but you have not all your time. So you are really interested in a fast track, hands-on, very pragmatic, and very diverse, because one of the key points for this program is definitely the diversity in terms of nationalities, etc. So this is really the reason.
But there are some MBA programs that are a bit like that. It's you've had a bit of experience and then you do your MBA for 1 or 2 years. Is this competing with that, or it's something different?
Well, probably it is competing in people. At a certain moment, probably the future participants have this discussion in their mind, okay? But the problem after that, it's more a philosophical problem. When is it the right time for doing an MBA? You know, if you just have a look at the MBA programs, an MBA is something that has to be done around your 30s, you know, and after that in your 40s, but why not an executive MBA? But frankly, and I'm not the one who said so, you know, Henry Mintzberg, many years ago, used to tell it so. So doing an MBA when you are 24, 25, 26 is totally silly, just because you know, it doesn't worth anything at that moment. It's too early.
Okay, let's talk about the intensity of the program.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big point here.
Mm-hmm.
When you say intensity, do you just mean it's very short?
No, intensity is that you work all the time. Just because the curriculum is a very rich one. You know, it's 500 hours, so it's quite a long time.
500 hours in a year?
In a year, yeah. So it's 12 months, 2 semesters of 6 months on one country each, but we will talk about that later. And so it's very intense just in terms of work. You know, it's like just from in the morning until the evening, and the group work, and you know, all the exercise. It's a really intense in terms of workload, in fact.
Do I have time to socialize?
You know, frankly, at a certain moment in life, there is time for socializing. That's for the classical business school, and there is time for work. At that moment, these people, the main stake is really feeding ourselves with the relevant contents in management. And of course, this socialization effect exists, of course, through the group work. A lot of group work. Through the meetings with the alumni, a lot of meetings with the alumni, etc. And through what's happening during the corporate project, where they are meeting many other people. So this socialization is a reality, but it's not definitely the priority for this program.
No, but if I'm looking at the classical business school, some people say it's just a socialization process.
That's why we are not a classical business school, you know, because, you know, frankly, paying such an amount of money for socialization and a brand, there is something wrong, you know, just in terms of values. It's oh, hey, we are not here and to sell people a network or a brand. We are here to teach them how is it to work in the modern business and management life. It's different, and of course socialization is important. But when you have 500 hours just for in 1 year, okay. They have their private life and it's okay for that, but it's definitely not the priority. That is not the case for the people doing a sort of classical master program in 2 years or 3 years. When you are doing that, you have plenty of time for associations, or parties, etc. In the MEB, definitely not.
The only thing is, isn't that how the real world works? A friend of a friend of a friend of a guy that was in my room one time for a party at business school is a connection that I need for an investor or something like that.
There is a big difference. For example, when this program has been launched 20 years ago, at that time, where no internet, no networks, etc., no social media. It's different now. So I mean, all these young people, they are working very hard, but like any other in the world, when they stop to do their courses, etc., they do go back to their room. And of course, they are on LinkedIn and Facebook, etc. And the problem is that today, and it was different in the past, the socialization effect is not only linked to the direct, relationship between people. By definition, they go on socializing, but through other type of tools, other type of medias.
So let's talk about diversity in the MEB. There's a maximum of 25% of any nationality.
Yeah.
That's very different from other management schools where each country you get a majority of students from that country. So in Germany you get a majority of Germans. In Spain, majority of Spanish. Are the French students so annoying that you stopped them at 25%?
No, but just because all the communication about this program is really focused, on diversity, and even the 25% is not exactly that. It's more the 25%. If you just take the whole class, the 250 or 60 people, in the reality of the field for each track, etc. No more than 20%, in fact. And just because the communication is an international one. So this program is definitely interesting, very interesting for Indians, for Italian, etc. And the French are, of course, filling in their application form. We are doing the interviews, and we have no quotas, we have nothing. We just take the best student that we can, and at the end, there are these 20%, for example, it's not French. No, for example, in Torino, these 20% in Torino are Italians, or in Germany they are Germans. So it's not a problem of French students. It's a really point that has to be understood, is that it's not a French program. And just because it's not even located in Paris, it's located in Paris, Berlin, London, etc.
We're in Paris right now.
Yeah, right now, it's got UK. So we are here because the office is, the main office is in Paris, with the small offices in Berlin, etc. From an historical point of view, this school has been created, in the 19th century. In Paris, it was in 1819, so 200 years ago. So the bases are here, but since now it's since 30 years, it's not a French school any longer. Just go to the cafeteria, people are speaking Spanish, German, French, of course, sometimes, but it's not a French school. It's definitely a European school with 5 campuses, and really campuses, not small branches, it's really campuses, and all the partners in Mexico, Moscow, India, China, etc.
Well, that's my next question, because it's a master's in European business, but I can study 6 months in Russia or China.
Yeah.
What's European about that?
What remains from Hong Kong and Shanghai in HSBC, frankly? What remains of Paris in ESCP? It's a problem of brand, in fact. So, okay, the European, in the history, it has been launched through a sort of European identity. And what is interesting, and I'm not saying that, our Indian, Chinese, Russian students are saying so. They say, what's interesting in the European, it's a sort of flavor, a different type of flavor in the way of doing business. Because in international, sometimes it's really close to the Anglo-Saxon world, and it's okay for that. But this European dimension is maybe more, humanistic. The diversity stake is really considered as a tough one. It's a very important thing. So these Indians, why do, myself, I ask myself the question, why do these Indians and Chinese are coming to a master in European business? Because this European dimension, for them, in the way they perceive the world, their imagination, being member of a European program in management, it's not like being member of any kind of international program like so many in the world. You know, that the position of the European identity in others people's mind, so probably in terms of diversity and the humanistic dimension. Probably.
Wait, so, okay, so I'm just trying to clarify European. You're saying it's kind of international because I can study in Russia or China, and at the same time, it's European, even though I'm studying in those places. I'm just a bit, but that looks like international. But then you say international is an Anglo-Saxon thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So Europe is something between international and French.
No, the French. You know, there is nothing French. The problem of French is even the number of students. You know, for example, I was in Torino for the first semester last week. There were in a class of 40% to French. No, this really, it's not because we're in Paris, you know. It's not because we are in Paris that it's a French program. The people are coming from all over Europe, of course, and now, hopefully, from all over the world.
So, can I spend a whole year in Paris on this program?
No, of course not. You know, the concept, as you know, is that you have the choice between different locations, and your 12 months must be done on 2 locations. So you have a choice of 9 locations for the first semester, the 5 European locations, of course, and you add to that Monterrey, Mexico, Moscow, Russia, Xiamen in China, and Gurgaon in India. So the first semester you have this choice, as you. And for the second semester, you go back to Europe. For the second semester, you have to make another choice on the 5 European campuses and one in Thailand. Okay, it's an old story. So we can do that, you know, but you have to make your 2 locations. Of course, you can do that both semester in Europe. That is possible, of course, and because it was the original concept of the school.
But I can do both semesters. I could do one in Russia and one in Thailand. Could I?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that the idea, really the philosophy of the program is that the second semester has really to be done in Europe.
So how can I make a smart strategic decision about my 2 locations?
You know, the decision is made probably considering, well, first the language factors. Just, you know, if I'm more comfortable with Spanish culture because I'm Mexican or Spanish myself, maybe the Monterrey first and Madrid second could be interesting. Some, of course, are thinking this language issue makes, for example, that during many years in the Torino campus, the first semester was in Italian. But of course, the fact that it was in Italian was in fact shrinking the market because so few people are speaking Italian. So they decided, it was a decision, we thought about that both semesters in Torino will be done in English, but it was okay, you know, at that moment. So it depends on many things. And the other criteria is not out of language. The second criteria is about the professional choices. You know, for the one, for example, who are definitely interested in finance, the first reflex is trying to have a look at London, you know, or for the one who are interested in industry, maybe Berlin. In marketing, why not Torino? It depends. And on this case, maybe Paris will remain a sort of generalist place. It depends. And sometimes there are family reasons. Sometimes there are convenience reasons just for the everyday life. But the problem is that we ask them, and this is a very, very tough dimension, they have to think about their location in advance, because once you've made your choice, we cannot change. You know, during the year, it's impossible to say, oh, excuse me, how I plan to go to Madrid for the second semester.
What if my dog dies?
Yeah.
If I have a family crisis?
No,
what if I learn something in the course and I change my mind because of what I'm learning?
You'll have, on that case, you will have to have a very, very, very strong file and to explain your point of view very, very, very precisely. We are very tough on this problem. I mean that every year, some students are asking to change. And of course, very few, in fact, very few are accepted. You know, if there is a very serious matter, but there are only two kinds of matters: health matters and family matters. That's all. You know.
But there seems to me a tension, because you're taking people from diverse backgrounds, you're giving them a very, very strong foundation year in business. They're going to learn things in the first semester that they never thought of before. Mm-hmm. And based on that understanding, that might make smart indicators for where they should go for the next semester. If I have to choose my second semester before I learn anything, what am I going to choose? What are my criteria?
It is one of the, let's say, constraint of this program. You know, we are not talking to teenagers. All these people are already graduated. You know, the average age is around 24, 25, 26. They are real adults, you know. It's not youngsters, it's not, no. So we are talking between professionals. So you make a choice, you know, it's not like if you were with bachelors, 17 or 18 years old, no. So, well, make your choice, and it's a problem of accountability. And if we are so tough on this problem of location, it's just because if you want to keep the quality of the program from an administrative point of view, for example, at a high level, it's impossible just for the teams here just to, you know, juggling like this with the destinations. But you know, there is not an issue, because it is really announced since the very beginning, and the people, when they sign, they know that it's part of the rules. You know, we are in a world where we have rules. This is one of the rules.
I have an issue here about the diversity, because I'm hearing two separate stories. On the one hand, I hear there are many locations, there are many nationalities, mm-hmm. there are many languages. That sounds diverse. But on the other hand, I'm seeing a program that is the same in all locations. The program itself is not diverse. The rules are not diverse. Is it really diverse if I do the same thing in every location?
Well, what would be a diversity? What do you mean? You mean that I don't understand. I don't get the point. What would be diverse? Is there
any local flavor? Is there a local difference? If I'm studying in Torino or London or Paris, what's the significant advantage of each place?
Yeah, I understand this question. Even that, you know, the problem is that we are trying to train people that are going to be actors in the global business world. In the global business world, there is no Italian marketing or French human resources or etc. It's not like this. By definition, in our business world and management world, there are some basic skills, competencies that are the same all around the world. And because the guy who is coming from Mexico, one is discussing in the lounge in an airport with the guy from China or from Paris, you know, the problem is having the common vocabulary and concepts, etc. So this story of diversity in terms of content in some schools, of course, is really, it's a marketing story. It's not, you know, business is business. Accounting is accounting. A marketing plan is a marketing plan in China, in Mexico, in London. So the diversity is about the mindset of the persons who are there. Because my problem is, for example, of course I have, for example, to work with an Indian accountant, for example. But the problem is that an Indian accountant, is he mostly Indian or mostly accountant?
He's definitely not European.
Yes, but he's an accountant. So my problem is having the right elements to deal with the persons all around the world. And the diversity of the persons is really linked to the flavor of the learning process, you know. Because, for example, in Germany, the difference in Germany is that Germany is a very academic center country, you know, very, very strict, the manuals, the etc. In Torino, in Italy, the pedagogy is sometimes different. more participative. The students has his or her word to say. That is not sometimes the case in other countries. So there are differences in terms of probably academic traditions. That's true. In China, for example, there is a professor, but all the time, a professor, or in India, professor is talking, and the students are, right, etc. And they are asking a question, could be sometimes considered a little bit, you know, well.
But markets are different, aren't markets? I mean, consumer behavior, the behavior of consumers in China is very different to the behavior of consumers in America.
But you know, we are talking about a generalist master, you know, 500 hours to have a global culture in management. It's not a specialized master in something. These people are only 24, 25 years old. If they are interested in going deeper in their future, it would be okay. But it's not the contract. The contract is, ladies, gentlemen, you don't know anything about what is business and management. Okay. Our contract is, we promise that in 1 year from now, through a double experience in 2 countries, you'll become a good generalist. And we say a good generalist just because we have the evidence, we have the proof, we have all the testimonials of companies, of the guys, etc. You'll be okay. And after that, if you want to improve something, why not trying to improve? And we can offer you one thing, for example, even in this program, on the second semester, because we wait them to be, you know, a little bit aware of what's happening all around. On the second semester, you can, if you're interested, having electives either on finance or marketing. So it's possible to have a small specialization in marketing or finance, because the experience told us that these both dimensions are considered as the most relevant and interesting for the students. Okay, so we propose that. And for example, in terms of, for example, the localization. There is in Paris, Berlin, Torino, Madrid, Berlin, a seminar in European business environment. What do you think, you know? In Moscow, for example, or in, it's not the European business environment, it's a regional business environment, or the Asian business environment, of course. But at the very beginning, the concept was around this European. And due to this flexibility that is part of our DNA, this flexibility, of course, help us to adapt the program considering our different locations.
There's a thing in the prospectus that says this is a very hands-on course.
Yeah.
Hands-on what?
Hands-on just because when you are giving a course on, for example, marketing or human resources or etc., there is a pedagogical choice. The professor who is talking. How can I'm going to present the academic roots, scientific roots of what I'm saying? When you have a 45 hours course in human resources, you can be very precise on, you know, the scientific article, this has been written as a. For that, we have no time. They have to trust us, you know. This is an international business school with high-level professor and researcher. So we say, what we are trying to train you to, you have to trust us about the quality, okay? But we are not going to bother you with the academic roots of search or so what, etc.
My hands, where are my hands?
My hands is doing things, you know. Doing accounting is not talking about accounting. It's doing in group work exercises around accounting issues. Marketing means doing a real marketing plan. That's why they have a corporate project. Hands-on means that you are coming from diverse backgrounds. You have to learn a maximum of practical things. For one reason, we are only obsessed, really obsessed by one thing in this program. And I really think it's very different from some of our competitors, even the brilliant ones. We are really focused on employability. This is the only thing. In the world where we are living, to increase the level of quick and effective employability of these men and women.
In the corporate project, I work in a real company.
Yeah.
So can I get fired?
Okay, what?
Can I be fired?
Why do you
we do a bad job. We go into the corporate. It's a real, live, hands-on project. We do a bad job. So we lose our jobs.
Well, we don't, you know, the corporate project is an exercise. So the companies are okay because if they compare the money they have to put with real consultants and the quality of the job that is going to be done by these so-called young students, there is no hesitation. We never have these type of things, just because once again, these young persons, they have been chosen, they have been selected. We have a large number of candidates, and we only choose, our 230, excuse me, and maybe 300. But okay, there is a selection. These people are selected. It's not the guy we just pick in the street and the young. Oh, I want to have graduated in management. Of course not. This is selection. These people are selected. The contract is clear. They are working hard, and it's the same story since 20 years now.
Okay,
so,
but my question is specifically in the corporate project. So I'll go into a corporation. I'll help on a consultancy project, but it's not real life. We can't make a mistake for the company in that project.
Never forget that it's a group work. It's not me, Philippe, all alone going to my corporate project with my little arms, etc. No, it's a group of people, a diverse group of people, men and women, more than boys and girls. Remember that. 25, 26, 27 years old, not youngsters, not teenagers, professionals, adults, okay? A group of adults who are really tackling with a real project. And this is this sort of alchemy that is creating the value of the things, because every year, our number of candidates in terms of companies, who are going to provide us with a corporate project, the number of companies is increasing, and we cannot accept just every company just because we cannot. So, it's interesting. I like your questions, even if I discover that why, if by definition, if you ask me these questions, it means that probably you meet these type of issues with other schools. That is not our case at all,
But there is a question for me with every school, which is this more chalk or talk? Am I looking and listening to the professor and writing notes, or I'm doing something? I'm in a boardroom, I'm in the office. What's the balance?
If you really can try to do things in terms of technical things, because accounting is technical, marketing is technical. If you can do things without listening first, it's really great. By definition, there are courses, so there are amphitheatre, and they have to take notes. But the professors here, and it's something we are famous for at the ESCP Europe, in all the group, our professors are really, really pragmatic professors. You'll never find any professor here sit at the chair and reading his or her course, and the students, it's definitely nothing. Just for historical reasons, we are not doing that. But so yes, it is both dimensions. There is a dimension, the academic or technical dimension. It's necessary, of course, but due to the huge amount of group work that is necessary for our pedagogy, and this corporate project that since the very beginning, because the corporate project is not something that is arriving at the end of the semester. Since the first month, the companies are just joining here, coming here, presenting their project, who is interested. And it's really important to understand that the companies are really proposing things, and our participants, they choose. So the companies are the ones who are expecting things.
There are so many foundation courses, general courses. Can I go in depth in the MEB?
Why going in depth? Why why going in depth? And that's why probably this question is never asked by the participants we have, because it's not the contract. The contract is not going in depth. The contract is really knowing the most dimensions, many dimensions of what the business is, because this is the contract. All these people, they don't know anything about business and management from the very first day. So give them a general culture, very practical and applied on these business matters. And after that, if they are interested, why not trying to go deeper? But the only dimension that can fit with what you're saying is that at the end of the second semester, as I told you, they can have the possibility at the end of the second semester to take electives specialized either in finance or marketing. Why not? But the specialization, 1 year, 500 hours, 1 year, 2 semesters on 2 different locations. There is no room for going in depth. It's quick and effective employability in a general management position, project management, or junior team management, or whatever. That's not, there are many possibilities. But you know, starting from zero to the ability, well, to understand a managerial situation.
Still, there's the title management, European management. At the end of this degree, am I going to be the boss, the manager, or am I going to be a poodle?
You know, it's not supposed to be. It's maybe it's master in European business, okay? And you are talking about management, because management is the lowest level that exists all over the world in terms of responsibility. And the manager can be a manager of 2 or 3 people. You know, it's not an executive MBA. The boss is supposed to be an executive level. We are not talking about that. And the programs, if I think about our competitors, the programs we are presenting to 25 in the 30 years old people, their program as something that is going to prepare them to the executive position is just a lie, you know.
You reject candidates who come with a bachelor's in business. Why?
First, it's not the case probably in all countries. There are some countries for regulations proper to the country. You know, in Germany, for example, the bachelor in Germany is something different than in other countries. For us, the question is very simple. If you have a bachelor in management, first question, what are you going to learn in a master in European business? Frankly, except of course, if you have a bachelor from, let's say, 2nd grade school, and you are interested in doing something like, we could say, diploma washing. But we are not selling a brand. We are not here. We are here to train people, not selling a brand, not selling a diploma or something.
But I will get something here, which is I'll belong to an école supérieure. Does that mean something special in France, to be part of one of the top écoles?
In France, because our system, it means something. But you know, for the MEB, it's still most of our students. You know, remember, the French are not the majority. Not the majority of students. So for this story of Grand École, of École Supérieure, doesn't mean anything for 80% of our students. They don't even understand how this is functioning between education, university, Grand École. This is something that is totally French, and it is out of the scope for us. We are not concerned by that. It's a pure French story. We are talking about a program that is not French at all. So no, they are interested in the fact that ESCP Europe is an European and international school that has a reputation and a brand and a network of alumni, etc. These are interesting things, you know.
You take people from diverse backgrounds, also from the humanities, from philosophy, from architecture. Is it not quite optimistic to get from all of these different backgrounds and to turn everybody in 1 year into a general business person?
Probably it is. And the good news is that it works. So, you know, it's great. And yes, it's optimistic.
How do you define works? Do people get jobs?
Yeah, they get jobs. They get interesting jobs. Most of the time in other, not all the time, in fields that they were not their fields. You know, the young Chinese lady who was got from a language school, for example, and after the MEB, she is now working in L'Oreal, in Helena Rubinstein as a marketing manager. It's incredible. The guy was architect, and the Italian architect, just coming here, and now is in finance in a big structure in London. Incredible. Oh, the other one who was graduated first in finance or accounting, and after the MEB, launching his it was a lady, her own business. You know, so these people really, when we say we are a life-changing program, they are not words. It's just the reality of our alumni. When we just have a look at what they did after leaving the program, This element is incredible. And it's one thing, it's not part of the contract, of course, but it could be saying, okay, we are going to create the conditions. We are not magicians, but we can create conditions. We can create conditions for you to change your life, if you want it. If you find your way, there's another way. We cannot do anything, everything, but we can help. Really, we can help. So this is optimistic in terms of potentiality. You know, the optimist way for us is a very precise philosophy. Why are we an optimist program? For us, because definitely we capitalize and we rely on people's strength. We try to help them to discover during this 1 year program, to discover on which type of fields they are good, even if they don't know at the very beginning. You know, say, okay, maybe you are very good in finance, but you don't know, you never tried. Maybe in fact you have a certain flavor and talent and gift for marketing, but let's try. And we are sure of one thing: at the end of the year, every student, every participant in this program has discovered on which topic he or she is good, and maybe on which topic he is not well so good.
But let's talk about my weaknesses, because the strength sounds great, but I have terrible weaknesses, drugs, women, whatever. But is this program going to fix my weaknesses?
You know, it's not a psychotherapy program. It's supposed to be management program. But weaknesses, it's a whole subject by itself. You know, personal weaknesses, it's something we have not to deal with. It's like the same in all type of programs.
Well, why not? I mean, it's a total life-changing experience. My personal life is in my life.
Yes, of course. But remember, 1 year, 2 different locations, 500 hours. We are not magicians. We are here to give the person the right resources, the raw material for maybe a future step, a creative life, you know, for the future. We give the elements, and we begin to create some group dynamics towards and through our pedagogy. It's one of the elements. But there were these weaknesses. By definition, the first thing is knowing exactly what my professional weaknesses are. And you know, after this 1 year of courses, group work, the corporate project, we know one thing, that these people, they all know precisely where their weaknesses are. After that, the question is what I'm going to do with my weaknesses. This is another story. Some people, for example, are saying, okay, I'm going to avoid the situations, the jobs, the missions where my weaknesses could create a problem. But I'm going to get more aligned maybe with my strength. After that, it's a problem of personal and professional career strategy. And we give them some elements about that, you know, through conferences or workshops, etc. But the key element is we give you the ingredients, and in 1 year, you will have at the end of the story ingredients that you didn't have at the very beginning. And with that, you can change your life from a professional point of view, of course. From a personal point of view, frankly, it depends on the persons. For example, the Chinese, the Indian students are not expecting that we go on their, you know, personal zone, etc. There are differences, and we respect so much the individual differences.
I see a tension here, though, because there's this talk about strengths and really identifying and building my strengths. And on the converse, it's a general course. Foundation in finance, foundation in management, foundation in accounting. How can I really get strong in something if I'm staying on the surface?
You know, the problem is maybe you are a little bit rational. Frankly, the strength first is really a feeling coming from inside. And you have the first day people are discovering, I just give you a personal example. I did a very general management program when it was so many years ago. After 1 month, I remember that, and I was 20 so years old, I understood quickly that accounting, finance, those things it was going to be tough and hard, and it was so difficult for me. But since the very first time I had a marketing courses, human resources, I had the feeling that it was great. I was done for that, you know. I have not to think about, well, maybe I have to wait for a couple of years trying to improve just to be sure that I'm really strong like that. No, it was a feeling, because we are, you know, the world is changing so fast around us that if I rely only on my brain to make my decision in life, well, it's really risky. We are saying them, wait, with that, try to listen to your intuition. What are you telling to yourself from the inside? This is part of this program. And this dimension is really increased by, first, intensity and diversity of the program. Because the fact to do that with people that are around me, that are so different from myself, things are happening within my mind, you know, and why not my soul, my guts, that will not happen if I was just, you know, sit in a class and just taking the courses, etc. That's why the MEB is such a different experience.
Intuitively, I feel like sitting in a classroom for hours and hours isn't going to work for me. I'd rather do stuff.
Yeah.
Should I study this program?
If really you have a problem with being sit in a class, you are going to have a lot of problems with all the programs in the world, you know. But by definition, I don't know any kind of high degree and high level programs where there is not a minimum price to pay in terms of attendance. I mean, you know, okay, being here and listening professors that are supposed to be skilled, experimented, etc., just to give me some information. Maybe you can try to do that. It exists. You can online, you know, with the internet in front of your screen. But in terms of group work, maybe it could be a weak solution, you know, for that. It depends what you are interested in.
You give a talk on YouTube about luck.
Yeah.
And you say that actually it's pretty critical for success.
Yeah.
If luck is so important, why study?
Because it's not luck alone. Okay. By definition, luck without skills, it never works. People sometimes make a confusion between the lucky strike and the lucky attitude.
Cigarette.
Yeah. The lucky strike means it was the name of a cigarette, but you know, you are walking in the street and you find a ticket of your Euro Million and you win. Okay, this is a sort of a blind luck, you know. This is not the real luck. The real luck is the ability that some people seem to have to attract interesting encounters, interesting informations, interesting opportunities. But why do they attract that? Because they are attractive. So in a program like the MEB, it's not the only one in the world, of course, but our philosophy is we are going to, if you want to attract opportunities in your future life, first you must become attractive yourself. And our ideas try to be more attractive through your new skills, your new competencies, and just try to become more interesting persons for the outside world, for the companies, for the than you were before. So we try to increase the attractive potential of people from really intellectual point of view, competence and skills. And after that, maybe we can teach them how is it to try to feel, you know, the atmosphere, the opportunity atmosphere all around. And for example, learn to teach them how is it to create a project, and a project that will be so strong, you will really carry this project inside yourself, so the people around will be interested. They are going just to come to you and say, well, give me some information. You seem so passionate by what you are doing. And at the very first moment, you are yourself carrying inside a strength. You call that a project, a passion, a goal, okay, or a dream, or whatever. Something is appearing in your relationship with all the others all around.
This reminds me of the 19th century finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
They would take ladies of 20, 21, maybe a bit younger. They'd put them in a special environment for a year or so, and they would learn to make their hair nice, to play the piano. They would make themselves more attractive, so when they go on the marriage market, they can find a husband. Is the MEB like a finishing school for people who want to make good matches in business?
Except that it's a starting school. Because in the 19th century, this type of pedagogy was supposed to help these young girls to finish their life in the right way. We are exactly functioning in the opposite. I mean, we are going to help you to start your professional life in a certain way, and probably the things that we are going to learn you, to teach you right now, will be not relevant any longer in 20 years from now, but it's not important. Our moral contract with our participants is we are going to prepare you to launch your real professional life on the best possible basis. You know, this is really what we want to do. Let's succeed in starting, having a good start, and for that you will have a better start if you have the right skills, the relevant experience in group work, this flavor of diversity, because in the future probably the probability that you are going to work, you will be obliged to work with people from different nationalities. All these elements, that will be necessary for you in the future. We offer you to experiment all these dimensions on this intense course.
You recruit in each location for the MEB. So in Mexico, you recruit in Mexico. In France, you recruit in France. Is there an easy way in?
Yeah, excuse me. What do you mean? I don't understand.
So
is there an easy way in?
If I was trying to get in France, yeah. I have all the competition of the other French students. If I go to Mexico, put on a sombrero, live there for a year, and then apply locally with my good background and my good grades, maybe it's an easy way.
No, because in fact, each country, of course, is making its recruitment, but with the highest criteria. For example, our partner in Russia is HEC. HEC is the greatest school of economics in Russia, so it's a very, very high level. They are only selecting high-level people. And even in Monterrey, in Mexico, it's not only Mexico, it's all Central America and South America. So all these organizations, universities, are selecting with a high level. But what is really important to understand is that the recruitment is based and positioned at the highest level, and we just try through a board of studies to really check the fact that the criteria of quality, of course, are respected. And due to the fact that each campus on each country is doing its own recruitment, it is a technical part, you know, of this diversity. And there is no way of trying to go directly, no, because by definition, if you are French, for example, and you want to join the program through Russia, well, you'd better be probably of double nationality, being totally fluent in Russian, etc. You know, so no, of course, even if some people would imagine to do that, it will not be. It will be totally unwise.
You're saying that you live on another planet.
You know, maybe during these 12 months in the MEB program, for most of the students, they have the feeling that they are living in another planet. But hopefully they will go back to the real life on Earth at the end. But it's like a sort of bubble where things are going to be transformed, and especially them, of course.
In the real Avatar, the human protagonist stays on the other planet forever. Mm-hmm. Is there a danger that I'll never leave?
Oh, never leave, and you mean becoming a professor. I see what you mean.
I'm worried about that.
Yeah, well, you can be worried about that. But no, in fact, we must admit that most of them, after working with us during so many months, they are so happy to go back to the real life. And so we, as professors, okay, we restart with another class. And this is our story.
Thank you, Philippe.
Thank you very much. That was it.